Thank you, Joe. Now call upon Michael Bishop, who will speak to us on his topic, the 40-year decision.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Bishop Persico, Father Jabo, the Board of Directors, Mr. Murnock, the faculty, staff, and administration of Cathedral Prep, distinguished guests of the class of 1966, family and friends, and my classmates of the class of 2016. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. Perhaps Father Jabo's most famous catchphrase is, "It's not the 4-year decision, but the 40-year decision." But what is a 40-year decision? Having a child is usually a lifetime decision, unless their teenage years are something out of a horror story, in which case it's only an 18-year decision. Buying a house is typically a 30-year decision if you sign that type of mortgage. Leasing a car is somewhere around a 3 to 4-year decision, pending you don't total it, which would result in a lifetime decision of increased insurance payments. But what is a 40-year decision beyond a clever alliteration on Father Jabo's part? Or is that all it is, and the theme of my speech is just a ruse? Either way, I believe I have uncovered the answer during the previous 4-year decision, as early as the first day of school, freshman year, in Mr. Parsons' 8th period world history class. Being the conclusion of a rather hectic day, I was completely drained from taking in all the new sights, sounds, and smells of Cathedral Prep. I wanted nothing more for the bell to ring and dismiss us for the day. I think Mr. Parsons shared my sentiment because that class was essentially boilerplate. Discussed the syllabus, classroom expectations, grading policy, and an outline of what material we would cover during the course of that year. After this mundane introduction, Mr. Parsons shared with us a story that has stuck with me to this day. As a graduate of the class of 2005 himself, Mr. Parsons knew full well the challenges, expectations, and reservations us freshmen were up against. He told us that after he graduated, he attended Gannon University, an institution that will again be graced with a fresh crop of Cathedral Prep ramblers from the class of 2016. He shared with us one time he was assigned some enormous paper, somewhere in the ballpark of 10 to 20 pages in length, fully sourced and properly formatted. He said that the other students in his class were absolutely lost and completely baffled by the length, requirements, and material in general. But to him, this type of assignment was commonplace at prep and was able to complete it with relative ease and efficiency. He pressed on, telling us there are so many opportunities here for us to better ourselves, learn from our peers, and develop into men of vision in spirit, mind, and body, a phrase that we so regularly hear. To me, this was a prime example of someone who has come to understand the 40-year decision element of Cathedral Prep. Thank you, Mr. Parsons, for showing me that the skills and lessons here do not stay within these walls, but instead travel with us far beyond them. But if 40 years was as significant a value as Father Jabo lets on, then why isn't the class of 1976 here with us today? To the gentlemen who are with us here today, from the class of 1966, did you feel different the day after your 40-year graduation anniversary? Did you forget the masses you attended? The lessons you learned here? The athletic trials you overcame? Does Cathedral Prep become meaningless after 40 years and a day? Clearly it does not. Otherwise, why would we be here? Though we, as a class of 2016, were young when we made the decision to come to Cathedral Prep, we were truly making a decision that would impact us not only for 40 years, but for the rest of our lives. Just as having a child is not solely an 18-year decision, just as buying a house is not only a 30-year decision, just as buying a car is not exclusively a 5-year decision, choosing to come to Cathedral Prep is something that will travel with us for the rest of our days, as evident by the representatives of a class that graduated 50 years ago. And while I cannot speak from experience about something lasting for 40 years, I can share with you the stories countless alumni have shared with me, who have then gone on to be successful doctors, lawyers, business executives, innovators, scientists, engineers, priests, leaders, and attribute much of their success to Cathedral Prep. Today, we join their ranks and will go out into the world. However, only to be burdened with the problems that currently plague our society. But if Mr. Parsons' story is any indicator, we have been tempered to obliterate any obstacle in our path. As such, I am not scared or apprehensive about our task. I do not worry about what the future holds. Through the next 40 years of our lives, I know that whatever challenge lays ahead of us, whatever unfortunate obstacle has been placed before us, or whatever insurmountable circumstance we find ourselves in, I know that Cathedral Prep has constructed us properly to overcome any task. I know now that our immediate 4-year decision to come to Cathedral Prep translates into unyielding energy, skill, and success during the next 40 years of our lives. To paraphrase President John F. Kennedy, we chose to come to Cathedral Prep and the other things, not because they were easy, but because they were hard. Because achieving our goals here served to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because this challenge was one that we were willing to accept, one that we were unwilling to postpone, and one that we intended to win. And might I add, did indeed win. In tandem with my own personal optimism, I feel a great wave of optimism for the future of this nation, knowing that there are about 150 more Cathedral Prep Ramblers that have been set loose and definitely solve the issues set before us. I have come to the conclusion that Father Jabo chose to call it the 40-year decision because, frankly, there is no other way to express it. Cathedral Prep imbues within us some intangible quality that is impossible to describe otherwise. It is something that we will have to come to understand and appreciate on our own during the next stage of our lives. In closing, I have come to appreciate every lesson I have learned at Cathedral Prep. I have come to a deeper understanding of my faith because of the unceasing evangelization of the teachers at Cathedral Prep, shown through the countless masses we attended, retreats we made, and priests that have been in constant contact with us who showed us Jesus Christ in all that we do. And finally, I have come to develop a boundless optimism in the future, knowing that there are more graduates of Cathedral Prep. I invite you gentlemen in the class of 2016 to join me in this sense of optimism, because it will be due to your efforts that we make this world a better place. Thank you.